Came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Kawa from Consulting here. If you're like me and you love your guns, but you also travel a lot, naturally you want to take your guns with you. But if you've never flown with guns before, it can be a little intimidating, especially, with all the TSA regulations and policies, and really especially these days with all the gun control panic. So I'm doing this video to give you guys some tips on how to travel with your firearms and make it a lot easier for you. And hopefully by the end of this video, you're going to be 100% more confident traveling with your weapons. So whether you're traveling by ground or air, you always want to start with some open source research. However, if you're traveling by air, then the very first place you want to stop by is the TSA website. So according to the TSA, when you're traveling, you have to comply with all federal and state firearms laws. Got it. Now, this may sound scary, but 99.9% of the time, neither TSA nor the airline will ask you what type of firearms you're transporting. They'll just ask you if it's cleared and locked. If you're traveling internationally with a firearm and check baggage, you have to check with US Customs and Border Protection. Or in other words, forget about it. It's just too much hassle, guys. You also need to declare all of your firearms every time you check baggage at the airport. Firearms must be loaded and locked in a hard-sided container and transported as checked baggage only. As defined by the 49 CFR blah blah blah, a loaded firearm has a live round of ammunition or any component thereof in the chamber or cylinder or in a magazine inserted in the firearm. That's their definition of a loaded firearms. Got it. However, when checking firearms, sometimes they'll ask you to wait a while before going through security. This is just in case they need you to come open the hard case, but that's a pretty rare thing. Moving on. Firearms parts, including magazines, clips, bolts, and firing pins, are prohibited in carry-on baggage, but may be transported in your checked baggage. That's kind of a no-brainer. Unless you use your range bag as your carry-on bag and sometimes forget to shake it out before you travel, like I did, and then you have a 9mm casing fall out of it, well, no big deal. Just explain to them why, and in most cases they'll understand. At least they did with me. Rifle scopes are permitted in carry-on and checked baggage. On top of that, guys, any type of optic really is allowed in your carry-on. However, remember that sometimes an optic may have too much carbon buildup on it because you forgot to clean it, and it may set off the belt scanner when your carry-on goes through it. Again, just explain the reason and you should be fine. Now here's where it gets a bit tricky: transporting ammunition. According to the TSA, ammunition is prohibited in carry-on baggage, but may be transported in checked baggage. A no-brainer, I think. Firearms magazines and ammunition clips, whether loaded or empty, must be securely boxed or included with a hard-sided case containing an unloaded firearm. TSA doesn't really care if your mags are loaded or not. However, they do care if it's loose and in bags. That's a huge no-no. If they're loaded mags, you need to have them locked up in a hard case. If they're still in its original packaging, then you can stow them in your checked luggage, as is. However, and this is big guys, you need to check with your airline and see what they have to say about it. The questions you need to ask are: 1. What is the weight limitation on ammunition? Airlines typically allow between 5 to 15 pounds of ammo. Number 2, can my mags be loaded in the hard case? And number 3, can I transport ammunition in my checked baggage as long as it's in its original packaging? The last thing you want to show up with is a bunch of ammo, and most of it gets confiscated because you didn't do your homework. So now that we've checked with the TSA, let's go visit the Delta Airlines website and see what additional rules and restrictions they have for us. And remember, they treat their site as a standalone source of info, so most of this info might be double tapping on TSA policies that you've already read. According to Delta Airlines, they only allow 11 pounds of ammunition to be transported. However, Delta Airlines does want you to declare your firearms to the Delta representative. Got it. Hey guys, so when you're traveling with firearms, they don't allow you to check in at the kiosks. So you're gonna have to ask one of the flight attendants or one of these people here at the representatives to ask them, hey, can I have firearms? And where do I need to go to check in? Most of the time they'll send you to the actual main kiosk to check the firearms in, because you can't do it at the kiosk. Okay, so most of the time all that means is just crack open the lid of your case, just enough to put your firearms unloaded tag that you signed, stating that the firearms were in fact unloaded. However, be ready to actually take it out and present it to the representative, unloaded. Okay, and here they cover some stuff regarding the quantity of firearms allowed per case. So according to Delta, you're only allowed to carry up to 4 rifles per hard case and 5 pistols per hard case. The last thing they mention is where you can pick up your firearms cases at your destination. For Delta Airlines, they want you to go to their baggage claim office where your case will be waiting for you. So this is important, guys. You need to ask the flight rep to put that tag on your gun case so it doesn't end up going to the baggage carousel, but it ends up going to the baggage claim office at your arrival city. If they don't do it, most of the reps know about it, but if they don't do it, you need to make sure and ask. One thing that TSA has started doing that you won't find on their website as of late last year, TSA implemented a new policy that requires you to fill each lock hole of your hard case with a lock. If your case has a hole, it needs a lock. One of my cases has 6. 6 master locks are super expensive. Lastly, guys, all this info is great and it helps a ton, but due to the climate that we live in these days and with all the gun scare in our mainstream media, airports have decided to take it upon themselves to add more rules on us regarding how we travel. That's why it's always good to call the local airport you're flying out of, and maybe even the airport that you eventually fly back from, to ask what, if any, rules they might have that is not on their website. All right, guys, I gotta go catch my flight, but I hope that was a beneficial video for you and one that you can use to help you travel with your firearms with a lot more confidence. I gotta go now, so I'll see you guys next time. Take care.